Apparently, in an interview, Alex Chilton, who wrote the song, said that he wrote it when he was 13 years old. So that's why it's called 13.
Oh wow.
But unfortunately, the song Paint It Black wasn't released until he was 15. So there's that. Um, you just can't trust anyone these days, can you?
Yeah, no. Hey, everybody out there. Welcome back to another episode of the Audiophiles. Andy, John, and we are here to discuss some music. John's going to offer up a tune for me to go off and check out by an artist yet unnamed, but we're about to remedy that all right now. John, what do you have in store for me, my friend?
No.
2 words. First one.
No, I'll tell you. So it's a band that we covered before, but on Into the Music, not on this channel. That's what it's about. Goddamn time I did. That artist is Big Star.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Okay.
I gave you the Ballad of El Goodo to listen to, and I just looked it up, and that was the 9th of September, 2022.
Wow.
So yeah, 2 years ago.
How far we've come. That's crazy.
Yeah. And yet, in other ways, anyway. So this is a track called 13.
Okay. Well then, I guess I have everything I need to know, and I'll go off and check out 13 and let you know what I think when I get back.
Won't you let me walk you home from school? Won't you let me meet you at the pool? Maybe Friday I can get tickets for the dance. And I'll take you. Ooh.
This is so fucking sweet. Oh my God. This is like, well, okay, 13 totally makes sense. God, this reminds me so much of just the picture that they're painting right now is taking me back to this show that was on when I was a kid. I think they did a reboot of it that I did not watch, but the show was called The Wonder Years, and it sort of like captured middle class American life in the middle of a very interesting time, the 1960s. And behind all of these real world events that were happening during that time, the basis was just this young, mostly innocent, dynamic between the main character and his, you know, middle school, high school sweetheart. And these sound like all the things you would do, especially at that time when things were so much more wholesome. Before really the world, I guess, kind of like in the middle of when the world was changing. And all of this, let me take you to the dance and walk you home from school, and you know, this this form of 20th century chivalry, um, that is just really wholesome and sweet. And with this music and his voice, it all makes for a perfect, some might say cheesy storm, but it just sounds so nostalgic and lovely.
Won't you tell your dad, get off my back? Tell him what we said about painted black. Rock and roll is here to stay. Come inside, well, it's okay. shake you. Ooh. Won't you tell me what
That guitar was gorgeous and definitely worth listening to again. Ugh.
won't you tell me what you're thinking of? Would you be an outlaw for my love? If it's so, well, let me know. If it's no, well, I can go. I won't make you.
Jesus. God damn. That was so pretty. So pretty. And yes, that last bit about like, would you be an outlaw for my love? And if not, then that's okay. I'll walk away. Like, that's just, again, chivalry. Some sort of modern day iteration thereof, but so wholesome and sweet and from the heart. Ah, sometimes it's like there's almost this bittersweet feeling about looking back because things were good and that it's sweet that you got to experience that. But there's this sadness to it because it's like, man, that was just a moment in time, and you can never really recapture that wholesome naivety. Um, that kind of breeds this sort of sentiment. Yeah, yeah. I could see this totally like literally bringing tears to eyes in the right mood or headspace. Yeah, it's really, really sweet. I don't know if there's any other way to describe it. But it's not even ham-handed. It's just so gently lovely. Um, yeah, I really enjoyed listening to this song. This is a good one. Oh, John, I didn't expect this from you, man. You're usually the hardened one of the two of us, and here you are throwing this at me. Which makes me even more curious to hear what you have to say about it. So you'll see this in editing. Let's get back to him and hear what John has to say about this choice he's made in this offering.
The batsman's holding, the bowler's willy. He's back. So you've had a little shuffle to 13. What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, we just sort of talked about how our last recording, Surf Curse, little ditty, short song. This too, little ditty, short song.
Yeah.
The difference being that for me, I don't want to take anything away from how beautiful the guitar was, but the main focal point here was the storytelling, was the narrative that's going on with the lyrics, which is something that's quite different from how you experience Surf Curse. So yeah, when this started, it's like the very pretty and unmistakable dulcet tones of an acoustic guitar picking its way through a chord kind of start things off for us here. And there is this odd familiarity to this song that I think is propagated by the almost universality of the lyrical storytelling. It smacks of youth, and in this sort of wholesome naivety with like references to offering, your crush a walk home. I assume your crush a walk home, and like meeting them, at the pool, I think was the destination, and offering them tickets to the dance. All of this is reminding me very much of a TV show that I grew up watching over here in the States. I don't know if it ever got traction over there, but it was called The Wonder Years. Um, and it
Yeah.
depicts this
Fred
middle,
Savage. Yeah.
yes, middle class Americana life in the 60s, where all of these real life, very, even for our country, let alone for individuals, formative events were occurring. But at the crux of it all was this, main character who was middle school age, high school age, and his girlfriend, and their family, but what they went
Is it
through.
Winnie?
Yeah, Winnie. Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, long time since I've seen it, but yeah.
Right, yeah, but because of like all of their all of the content that's being discussed in this song, and again the verse that's upcoming, it just took me right to that time that they were depicting in that show. So just a little glimpse into where I was with this one. So yes, even like I said, the allusions to Paint It Black and the burgeoning emergence of rock and roll is really on the nose as it relates to what I just described. I mean, it was exactly that kind of era in America. So there's the pretty guitar motif between the second and third verse is simple but so sweet. And you couldn't ask for a better sound, so perfectly catered to the sentiments of this song. It's warm, it's inviting, and yet it has just a tinge of this like bittersweet nature to it, like the soundtrack of Looking Back, um, which is a bittersweet act in and of itself, right? So, yeah, I was really this oddly moving. So the final verse is so sweet. And I know you're going to go over these, but forgive me and indulge, me in this. Won't you tell me what you're thinking of? Would you be an outlaw for my love? If it's so, then let me know. If it's no, then I can go. I won't make you. Oh, what simple but chivalrous sentiment. All enhanced by these beautiful harmonies that kind of like tug on the heartstrings.
Yeah.
And I just thought this song was like perfect in its simplicity. And honestly, I could see being like in the right setting or the right mood, how this could like, you know, get you misty-eyed thinking about what once was. And I found that kind of funny because you're the more hardened of the two of us when it comes to, your feelings and letting them out and everything like that. If I may be so bold as to posit there. But yeah, I thought it was a really sweet song that and probably even more so if you're of a certain age, where you saw some of these things happen. Like I would say someone like my father's age, or just maybe the generation right before yours, not to say that you couldn't relate to this, but it was just, I don't know, a little slice of um nostalgic American pie,
Yeah.
and I really really enjoyed it.
Yeah. If he'd been referencing stuff in this country in the 70s, then I would definitely get misty-eyed by the delivery of it.
Yeah.
And I think, as you say, if you're of a generation like the boomers, looking back 60s America, it's always look back with rose-tinted specs anyway.
Hmm.
Hence the Wonder Years, etc.
Yep.
Forget the civil unrest and all that stuff.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, people have been known to sort of well up listening to this song. It's just perfect, sentimental, but it's not just sentimental. There's this naivety to it as well, which
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
heartfelt, and it's just great.
And,
So
and
anyway,
and that naivety speaks to the age where one would offer
yeah,
his lady of interest a walk home from school, or can I meet you at the sock hop, or whatever.
yeah,
It's just it's a time that's never going to come back, but people
No,
often, look back on, like you said, rose-colored. Yeah, let's not forget about the German shepherds and the hoses and the, sending fucking 18-year-olds off to, the Pacific Rim and all this shit. But nonetheless, there is still yet this relatable Norman Rockwellian kind of visage that comes to mind when you think of this kind of this era in America.
no, exactly. And it's been proven in recent political movements that that is for
Yeah.
the sort of mid core of people, particularly in America. They want to go back to that early 60s, late 50s, which was a terrible time for all the other people outside of that circle.
Yeah.
But hey, that
Yeah.
you can sell that dream. That's
I can think of a certain acronym that comes to mind when you say that's being spouted off a lot over here these days. But yeah,
anyway,
you're right.
yeah. So, as said, we did cover Big Star, The Ballad of El Goodo on Into the Music, the channel that we were both previously on. I will put a link to that episode below, and we covered at length the sort of the band, how it was formed, all its ups and downs, nervous breakdowns, deaths, fights, record label cock-ups, all the whole 9 yards. It's quite a story. So I won't go over all that, but just to reaffirm, the band were formed in Memphis, Tennessee, which is in the United States of America, in 1971. The players are Alex Chilton, guitar, piano, vocals. He sadly passed away in 2010. Chris Bell, guitars, vocals. He sadly passed away in 1978. Andy Hummel, bass guitar, vocals. He sadly passed away in 2010. And Jody Stevens, drums, vocals. Just one more needed for the set. He's still alive. But anyway, so they've been described as one of the most mythic and influential cult acts in all of rock and roll. In the band's first era, the musical style drew influences from 60s pop acts such as the Beatles. They deliberately wanted to be this, singer-songwriter double act, and the Byrds, and they produced a style which did foreshadow the alternative rock scene of the 80s and 90s, and all the bands that have cited them, particularly REM. Before they broke up, Big Star created a, in quote, seminal body of work that never stopped inspiring succeeding generations, according to Rolling Stone. Three of Big Star's studio albums are included in the Rolling Stone list of top 500 albums of all time. So this and the previous track that we discussed are both from their debut album, Number One Record, which they titled as an aspiration. Thinking that's where it's going to get. Now, if your label then doesn't actually put them in the shops to sell, you're in a bit of a pickle. So released in 1970, 1972. So despite all the distribution cock-ups and the subsequent poor commercial performance, it's now widely regarded as seminal work in sort of pop rock and power pop, or whatever you want to call it. Rolling Stone ranked this song, 13, as number 396 in its 500 greatest songs of all time.
Mm-hmm.
So even getting on that list is pretty damn good. Bill Jankovic of Buffalo Tom fame wrote in his all-music review of the song, "There are a few songs that capture the aching innocence of adolescence as well, and calls it a perfect melancholy ballad." Singer and critic Simon Robinson rated it as Big Star's best song, praising the catchy melody and jangly guitars that perfectly capture the carefree and optimistic spirit of youth, and the simple yet poignant lyrics that evoke the experience of teenage romance and heartbreak. So I will go into the lyrics, which aren't much. Won't you let me walk you home from school? Won't you let me meet you at the pool? Maybe Friday I can get tickets for the dance, and I'll take you. Ooh, ooh. Won't you tell your dad, get off my back? Tell him what we said about paint it black. Rock and roll is here to stay. Come inside where it's okay, and I'll shake you. Ooh, ooh. But beautiful guitar break.
Yeah.
It comes back in. Won't you tell me, as you've quite correctly read out the last verse, won't you tell me what you're thinking of? Would you be an outlaw for my love? If it's so, well, let me know. If it's no, well, I can go. I won't make you. Ooh, ooh. Yeah, that last, as you rightly highlighted, is just beautiful in its
Yeah.
simplicity. But it just the sentiment is awesome. It is these people have not yet been twisted or embittered by life's turns and pressures. So yeah, I was just putting my notes: simple, elegant, heartfelt, innocent teenage love. And it is just, I reckon, even in 1972, it would have sounded nostalgic to people listening to it then.
Yeah.
It's incredible. So yeah, it was released as a single with "Watch the Sunrise" as the B-side on Ardent Records. But in yet another record label cock-up, it was mislabeled as one of their other songs called "Don't Lie to Me." So yeah, that just keeps on coming. So apparently, in an interview, Alex Chilton, who wrote the song, said that he wrote it when he was 13 years old. So that's why it's called 13.
Oh, wow.
But unfortunately, the song "Paint It Black" wasn't released until he was 15. So there's that. You just can't trust anyone these days, can
Yeah,
you?
no. Words, the whole thing. This is all that those sweet words are written by a goddamn liar. Oh,
Yeah, of course. Teenage Fan Club. I think we've done a Teenage Fan Club song. I'm sure we have.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have. Yeah. They're massively influenced by Big Star, and they named their fourth album after this song. And this song, you'll be not surprised to know, has been covered by many, many, many. Even Dando of Lemonheads, Garbage, Albert Hammond Jr., Mary Lou Lord, The Messengers, Elliott Smith, Wilco, Yeah Yeah Yeahs, and many others. And it has been featured in a number of TV shows and films as well. And you can imagine for that sort of innocent, poignant moment, it's a good choice. So yeah, I just thought I'd throw this your way because there's something quite wonderfully pure about it. And I'd hope that it will somehow reach the recesses of your stony heart.
Please. Yeah, right. Quite the opposite. Who are you talking to right now?
No, it's just a perfectly beautiful song. And if you were to pick a heartfelt, short, sweet, so, I mean, this you couldn't really get much better.
I think
it's incredible.
You're absolutely right. Even though I didn't live it, but even I guess the product of a couple boomers coupled with watching the Wonder Years was all, and honestly there were other, like, for some reason that was a thing when I was growing up. Like My Girl, the movie, was kind of set in that era. There were a lot of art coming out that was Forrest Gump did this, where it really like underscored this era and told its story through that timeline. So yeah, for some reason I think a lot of us, even though we came well after it and we're the sons of boomers, we are, or the sons and daughters of boomers, I should say, all still grew up watching, because boomers were making art, the glorification of their era unfold before us. So even though we didn't live it, there was this proxy thing happening where we got this maybe flowered up version of what they lived through their own stories and through television, film, now music, that kind of illustrated it for us. So yeah, even though I didn't live it, this still hits home for me, and it makes me think of stories I've overheard other people tell each other about how the things were when they were growing up, and all that stuff. So part of me laughs at it. The cynic part of me laughs at it, but then the part of me that is like, no, people really did. This was an experience that a lot of people can really relate to, I'm sure. Grandfathers and grandmothers out there at this point know this experience. And this narrative, and it's really sweet. It wasn't to me, it wasn't saccharine, it wasn't cheesy. I could see how like really cynical people or dark people could think that it is, but no, man, it just fit in that pocket where I could take it for how it was intended and not let my outside prejudice bleed into it or whatever. It was really sweet.
Yeah, I think the honesty of it is the thing that cuts through, that stops you going that way.
Yeah.
I mean, what you talked about in terms of that sort of vision of that American in the past, though. I think even subsequent stuff still has that feel to it, like a lot of Spielberg stuff. It may be set in a different decade, but it has that same sort of values.
Yeah.
I think most of John Hughes's films, even though they're very 80s, are actually of a 50s kind of mentality in terms of values.
Oh.
They may be dressing up with bad clothes in the 80s, but the family dynamics and everything is all there from a 50s Americana.
Yeah, you said
So it's very
Spielberg. The
good.
first thing I thought was E.T. Like E.T.
Yeah.
had that going for it as well. No, you're right. You're right. You're absolutely
Yeah.
right.
And it's just you say this sort of lost innocence that not only the narrator has lost, but us as a sort of society or culture have gone beyond that now. So you just wouldn't get that these days. It would be a text or maybe a dick pic, as opposed to "Can I walk you home?" It's just and that's the way it's gone, and the genie's out of the bottle, so there's no going back.
Yeah, you can't squeeze the milk back into the tit for sure. That's unfortunate. But
what a wonderful
it's
phrase. Right, I should, on that bombshell, as Partridge says, I should wrap things up. Thanks for listening to this, Andy.
thank
Folks
you.
out there, tell us what you think. Fans of Big Star. Tell us what you think about this song, this album, Alex Chilton, Teenage Fan Club, whatever. Please do hit the like button if you like this. It helps with the evil workings of YouTube. And please drop some comments. We'd love to hear from you. And we really enjoy reading all of your stuff and your opinions and stories and anecdotes and everything.
Yeah.
Really cool. And recommendations as well. If you haven't subscribed already, please do. And more of this stuff is probably heading your way soon, I guess. He says as the person actually chose it. But yeah, we will definitely. Yes. So please do hit that subscribe button as well and have the channel boost us up. We really appreciate everyone who does. That being said, thanks again so much for watching, and we'll see all of you on the next episode of the Audiophiles.
See you later, guys.